and it was a ride. Hey, if you're on BookTok like me, this is your sort of video. I'm going to be reading viral BookTok recommendations. So if there's any books that you've seen on TikTok and you're wondering, is it worth it? I'm going to tell you, this video is for you. We're going to be starting off with a really popular book series, the Chestnut Springs series by 𝘔𝘰𝘬𝘪𝘢. The Chestnut Springs series is a 5-book series. They're also standalone books, so you don't have to read them all together. And it's basically all just based off cowboys. I have already started it, and so far we've got Rhett and Summer. So Rhett is a bull rider and he is employed by Summer's dad. Summer is an intern at her dad's company. At the beginning of the book, you find out Rhett just had a bit of a scandal and he's lost a lot of partnerships, etc. and they're losing a lot of money. Summer's dad gives her the job of basically babysitting Rhett and keeping him in check and in line. So it's low-key enemies to lovers, low-key forced proximity, which... finished it last night, which I'm now going to insert that clip as well. The one thing that always makes me tear up is when the author finally writes in that one sentence that includes the title. And everything about the moment is flawless. Something as simple as that line, but just because it includes the title, I'm always like, you really got me there, you really got me there. And I'm actually going to rate this a 4 stars. Which isn't very often I do that for a romance. And I honestly can't believe it took me this long to start this book, considering it's been on my TikTok For You page for the last year maybe. These are going to be the most perfect palette cleansing books. I feel like you guys kind of know this one was almost guaranteed to be in this video. The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. I also haven't read a thriller in ages. I also stamped it with my little book stamper, so it's got my little name engraved, so now it's mine. Let's get started. Oh my god, I also want to read it because they're making it into a show and it's got Amanda from Mamma Mia in it, which I have mentioned in a previous video, but I just can't stop talking about it because I'm so excited. And I really hope it pays off because she's a great actor and I expect nothing less from her. So, yay! I believe it's been like 2 or 3 days since the last clip. And we're now on page 238, so we're pretty far through and have just over 50 pages left, so I'm very excited to finish. It's getting good. It's got to a point now, so we were following Millie for like most of it, and then she obviously works as a housemaid and she's working for Andrew and Nina. Nina comes across as like a massive psychopath and Andrew comes across really normal, and then there's a change in the point of views, and then suddenly you're watching it from Nina's perspective and you find out Nina's side. So right now I'm reading about Nina. I'm not enjoying Nina's POV as much, only because it's a little bit repetitive. It is good, I'm not bored by any means. The way they left Millie's chapter before going to Nina was incredible. My jaw dropped to the floor. So I actually said in a previous YouTube video that I was going to read more thrillers this year, just because I hadn't read a lot and I wanted to get more into them. Therefore I read this. This has now made me realise that maybe thrillers aren't for me because it's kind of set a toll on me a little bit. It reminds me a little bit of Verity, just in the sense that Millie, the housemaid, and then you've got the couple, and then in Verity by Colleen Hoover, you've got whatever her name was, and then a couple, and she goes to their house. I did it. Last night I finished The Housemaid, and I feel like I'm now a part of the little TikTok crew. I feel like I'm all cool now. I feel like I'm all up to date with what's trending now. As you can tell, the tabs were tabbing. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I'm actually really excited to talk about it because last night when I finished it, I was like, Dad, please just let me explain the plot to you because I need to tell someone because it's actually genius. It was almost a thing where you kind of assume it's gonna happen, but you're like, nah. So we're starting off, we're following Millie, who is the housemaid who has been hired by Nina and Andrew, who are a little couple, and their daughter Cecilia. You find out at the beginning that Millie is an ex-convict, but you don't know why she went to prison, and that only gets found out at like the end. And then you're like, oh, like this is all starting to make a lot more sense. Our first impression of Nina, she's lovely. She hires Millie. Millie's very happy to be working in this lovely home. And then Nina turns out to be an absolute crazy lady, and then Andrew's on Millie's side and he's trying to back her up and help her out without upsetting Nina because he's like, oh, Nina's just got problems. And we're like, okay, fair enough, like just let it slide. You then get to part 2 of the book and it switches to Nina's perspective. I'm not gonna talk too much on it because I want it to be a surprise when you read this, because it's really well done. When Nina gave her a tour around the house, Nina showed her the room she'd be staying in, which is like kind of an attic sort of vibe upstairs, and it's got a lock only on the outside door, which is what the cover's obviously about. And there's so many great plot twists, or not even like plot twists, but little things that you're like, such a good Easter egg, how did I not notice this already? At the very end of the book, Andrew's mum says something to Nina, and that is one of the biggest like, oh. And then at the very, very end of the book, Millie is talking to another employer and something happens where you're like, oh, so this is gonna be like, I'm not really excited to read part 2, only because you kind of know what's gonna happen in The Housemaid's Secret based off the last chapter of this one, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be that exciting or different from this one. I would be so open to reading more of Freida McFadden's work because she is a great author. Last but not least, I went for kind of TikTok popular, but also kind of mainstream popular. Normal People by Sally Rooney. Honestly, I cannot believe I haven't read this book already. This is like massive. I really want to watch the series as well, which is kind of why I'm reading it too. A nice 300 page. A lot of people said to read Fourth Wing, but honestly, it's a big effing book and I haven't even finished Throne of Glass yet, so it just feels illegal to start a whole new fantasy series when I haven't finished that yet. I feel like it's going to be like One Day, kind of similar, like two people who fall in love but neither of them want to say anything, kind of miscommunication trope. The only thing that I'm a little bit nervous about is I've heard that Sally Rooney's writing is kind of strange and she doesn't put in speech marks, so you kind of get a bit lost about who's speaking and when they're speaking. But once you get into that, apparently it's easy to look past and everyone loves them. I also got it on Depop, so the spine's not even cracked, it's brand new, but I got it for an absolute bargain, so we love that. Oh my god, there's a crow. Magpie, I mean not a crow. He's huge. I'm quite far through Normal People. I have literally like 20 pages left and I thought I'd give you a little pre-finishing review. As you can tell, first of all, I have been tabbing quite a bit because this is the sort of book where essentially we've got Connell and we've got Marianne, two people who meet in school. They're low-key best friends, but it's very like kept on the down low because Marianne's a little bit seen as weird in the school and Connell's kind of popular, so he kind of like stays away from being seen with her, but outside of school they're best friends. Very similar to One Day, where they both fall in love but at different times, and by the time the second person falls in love it's too late and the first person's moved on, and it's flipping gut-wrenching. It's gut-wrenching. Sally Rooney nailed the title because it literally is just reading about two normal people. Her writing style is so effective because you literally see every little thing, every little detail, down to what they're doing, down to the taste in their mouth. All of their senses are being discussed. She almost switches between first and third. Like you're seeing, 1 second you're seeing in someone's brain, you're seeing it from their perspective, and the next you're seeing it from an outside perspective as a third person, and the next you're going to the next character. Like she literally covers every basis and it's incredible, and it's such a good way to get you involved because you always feel like you feel like you know both characters equal amounts, and it's so effective because then you're not really siding with either person, you're kind of in the middle being pulled back and forth as are they. So we're going to finish this today, probably, hopefully. Pretty sure they don't get together, I think I saw on TikTok, but I'm excited to finish it and then watch the show because I know the show's gonna slap. Welcome to the crib. Welcome to the crib. It's 10 to 7 and I have 10 pages left of this damn book, and honestly, it's got to be done now, babe. It's got to be done. Classes are going to be going on. This artist is my favourite artist for reading. It's beautiful and there is so much emotion in his music. It's crazy. It's weird because they have no lyrics but they're so emotional. Like I just want to cry whenever I hear one of his songs. I don't want to know how it ends. But also I really want to watch the show, so I guess I'm happy for that. Counts 10, deep breath. Last night I finished Normal People by Sally Rooney. I feel cool. I feel like I'm part of a club that I haven't been a part of for many years. It's not the journey, no, it definitely is the journey, it's not the destination. This book broke my soul in ways I didn't know was possible. I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars. Originally on Goodreads I put a 4, and then about 10 minutes later I was like, 3.5. The whole time I was invested, and I really wanted to see how Connell and Marianne worked out and how their relationship developed and so on and so forth. but the fact that there wasn't a running plot, there's not like a purpose in the story. It literally is just watching them go back and forth, going through the normal relationship thing you do with people, if that makes sense. I can see why this is so popular. I just think it's not really my typical taste in books. However, I cannot wait to watch the show because I know already the show's gonna slap. It's also just really beautifully written. There's like so many great quotes and descriptions where I'm like, I'm basically inside their body. I feel like I'm in the room with them, in their heads. Guys, and we've done it in every single book I actually tabbed in this challenge. So I feel like that's a good sign. When I tab books, it's a good book. I believe we've proved our point that BookTok really knows what it's doing, because these books all slapped and no one lied. No one lied about it. I really want to film a video where I read your recommendations. If you have any, please comment them down below and I will get on them. I will get on them. Make sure to subscribe so we can all share what books we're reading and also make a lovely little cutesy community. I'm gonna go now because I want to start a new book. What book should we start, guys?